Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where if you have two hands, you have a fighting chance. Just ask James Ellsworth. It's Lost in the Midcard. Welcome to our first regular edition in about 3 weeks or so. We're going to break down the fallout on Raw and Smackdown from Survivor Series. We'll cover this week's NXT as well. And also catch you up on a little bit of headlines from the past 3 weeks that we may have missed, and including some new stuff too. And so we'll get right to it. But first, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. All you got to do is search for Lost in the Midcard, and you'll know once you subscribe every time a new episode comes your way, typically every Thursday or also every Monday after a WWE pay-per-view. But this is Turkey Week, so you're going to be listening to us on Black Friday.
Hey, look, if they need a place to get away, and they want to listen to us on Turkey Day, I see nothing wrong with that. You want to get away from the annoying relatives. You want to sit there and you want to listen to some Lost in the Midcard on Turkey Day. I get it.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you.
I won't be able to put it out on Turkey Day. I'm going to be gone.
Bastard.
So this is Black Friday.
It's all JB's fault, guys. We were hoping for a Turkey Day edition of Lost in the Midcard. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
I doubt. Who we? You in your right hand?
I was hoping for one.
You and the gobbledygooker?
I don't care about the gobbledygooker. Look.
Yeah. This is Black Friday because I got Thanksgiving stuff to do on Thanksgiving Day, so I won't be able to do it.
JB's fault. JB's fault. JB's fault. You jobber.
We're also on YouTube. You can subscribe to that as well if you're a YouTube dude. And the links to all that are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/LostInTheMidcard. In the notes section, just go there. We're also on the Twitter at LITMC Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Bennett. You can find me on the Twitter at JBHuskers. And as always, on the Twitter at Raw If Showtime, it is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, my friend. I'm good.
Yeah, after interrupting my open, you better be good.
Hey.
Hey!
Sometimes the opening needs interrupted.
This is the Black Friday edition when you're pushing old ladies out of the way for $10 DVD players. You can listen to us while you're doing it. Give you that extra inspiration.
Does
for that
anybody
extra...
really need to buy a DVD player in 2016?
Apparently a lot of people, if you see the Black Friday stuff.
Like, not even like a 4K Blu-ray player? Like, no. Really? There's specials on DVD players?
$10 no-name brand DVD player. It's on sale on Black Friday. I gotta have it.
I'm sorry, motherfucker, but if you need to go on Black Friday and get a motherfucking DVD player, just stop. Just stop. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gone out on Black Friday. Normally I have to work, so that's part of it.
I have worked some miserable Black Fridays.
Well, not in retail, thankfully.
I have.
Yeah. I thankfully, when I did work in retail, I had two jobs. I was still with Allstate, where I still currently am for about 14 years now. And for a couple years, I had to do two jobs, so I worked at Walmart. And Black Friday is mandatory, but yeah, my other job pays me a lot more, so I'm not going to be here on Black Friday. So I never had to mess with that, thank God. But I think for the first time in a long time, next year, I think I have Black Friday off, hopefully. So maybe I will go out with the crazy people. But
my advice to anybody thinking shit online.
Yeah,
if you're patient and you want to look around, you can find, I would say, 90% of the deals that you're rushing out to on Friday to go to those stores. If you just sit down and do some online research, you can find every single one of those specials online and save yourself a massive headache.
Dummy, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I already found a something I was thinking I was gonna have to, have my finger on the mouse for on Black Friday, waiting for that lightning deal to come down, and then all of a sudden, boom, pre-order. I'm like, whoa, all right.
I'll take it.
The release date for the new Mario Black and White Nintendo 3DS, $99, but a bitch ain't one. And
Oh my.
I'm like, oh, let me guess. This is going to be a lightning deal like the Nintendo Mini where you're going to get on, the site crashes. But thankfully to our friends at slickdeals.net, they said, hey, it's available for pre-order right now. Go get it. So I did. My cart worked. My checkout worked. Everything worked. So one last thing. Granted, I don't have hardly anything on my Black Friday list. I don't really. Maybe a couple video games for the right price, but other than that, nothing really on my Black Friday. Maybe a movie, but other than that, Matt, nothing really on my Black Friday to-do list. How about you?
I mean, I don't. As I said, with all the years I've done retail, and I've seen the chaos and the craziness that is Black Friday, I refuse to go out and do any type of shopping.
Oh, all mine's on
stores
Amazon.
After that.
Yeah, all mine's on Amazon.
And look, I'll scan through the deal, see if anything appeals to me. But there's definitely nothing that I'm like targeting on Black Friday, because there's nothing that I truly feel like there's nothing that I actually need to have right now, and it's really not that big of a deal.
I didn't need to have the new Nintendo 3DS, but the fact that you could play Super Nintendo games on the Virtual Console on top of the NES games, and then on top of the current, slate of games, I think Super Mario Maker is coming out pretty soon for 3DS. So I was like, when I heard it was $99, I'm like, dummy, yeah. So, and that might be my only Black Friday purchase. Maybe a $5 Blu-ray. There's a couple of movies that I'm looking at. Maybe if that's $5, but hey, how you doing? Cup of haters. Got cup of haters here at the store. All right. After our Thanksgiving diatribe, that was pretty fun. Let's talk about something very cool that aired on the WWE Network Monday. Matt, we were talking about the authentic, untold story of ECW. This was about a 50-minute special. Way too short. There probably could have been 3 hours that these guys could have talked, and they probably would have talked 3 hours. The host was Corey Graves. He had a one-on-one with Paul Heyman for a couple of minutes before they brought in Bubba Ray Dudley, and then they brought in Taz. Hey, Taz, welcome back to the WWE. Hopefully we see you again sometime soon. And then they brought in Devon Dudley and Tommy Dreamer to round out the panel of five gentlemen. And Matt, what was your thoughts on the ECW special that they aired on the network Monday night?
I thought it was fantastic. I would say my only complaint was I wished it was longer. Yeah. I truly hope they listen to the great feedback the series is getting on social media and turn this into not just a one-off, but like an episodic series, kind of like the back in the day before the network, which I'm still wishing they would bring back, like the Legends Roundtable. Yeah, that was hosted by, I think, like Mean Gene hosted it. And
yeah,
they
it's
had,
in
like,
the vault, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, that was never for the network. It was for like that WWE 24/7 thing they used to have on the cable things back in the day. That's what those were produced for.
But you can
I would
still
love
watch
for
them
them
on
to
the
bring
network,
that stuff back.
Yeah.
And if you want to start it off with doing it in the form of different stories and things you could tell from ECW, I think it'd be fantastic.
If you were a fan of ECW, if you watched the special and loved it, I mean, go to Twitter, at Reply, at WWE Network, use the hashtag ECW Untold. Let them know you watched it and you loved it. I did that myself about an hour ago. I watched it the other day, and then I rewatched it as I was patiently waiting for my wings for dinner tonight. I started it back up and watched it again. It was so damn good. But God, they could have had so much more to say. and I'm sure there's millions of stories that none of us know about. Matt, what was your favorite story that they told on this special?
You're Marty Jannetty.
Yeah, they thought Devon was burning Bubba, saying he wasn't helpful in his career, but no, he was saying that guys like Dreamer and Taz helped him, and at the time, him and Bubba were still on the same kind of mastery level of professional wrestling. This is before the Dudley Boys were huge. Was what he was talking about, but it was still kind of funny. And my favorite is the FedEx story.
Just take the number. The
best part about this FedEx story is Bubba saying, "You didn't get this from Google, did you? Because you can't Google it. Now you can because the special's out there. But this story was never told." And so the name of the show was not bullshit. It was fact, and a fact of life. Dummy, yeah. And basically, Bubba ran a lot of the operations, a lot of the handling of the advertisers, paying the advertisers, getting a bill from the arena because they destroyed the place. Lots of things in that regard. Bubba Ray did a lot behind the scenes that not many people knew about. And there was an ECW pay-per-view coming up, and they were looking to advertise on Time Warner in New York. And Time Warner didn't have a check. And so Bubba calls Paul and goes, "Where's the check?" And he goes, "He FedExed it." And Bubba, being smart, he goes, "Yeah, what's the tracking number?" And Paul rambles off a bunch of numbers, and Bubba goes, "That's one too many numbers for a FedEx tracking number." And Paul goes, "Just cut off the last number," because that check was not in the mail, was it, Matt?
Not at all.
And, it wasn't all fun and games. Holy cow. Seeing Tommy Dreamer get emotional at the end, Matt, that was really cool.
It was great, dude. You could tell everybody really, everything they said they meant, and everybody was speaking from the heart, and it was really cool to get all those guys together to talk about it. I really hope we get more, and I hope, like they mentioned, there's more people that could, interchange out of these specials. Rob Van Dam, Jerry Lynn, Sabu, Sandman, Rhino, Mikey Whipwreck. There's plenty of people they can bring in and, interchange in and out to do a whole series of this stuff.
Yeah, it was, you could, oh God, I could imagine some of the Sandman stories we,
yeah, exactly.
may have had in the late 90s. But how cool was it to see Taz on WWE programming in 2016? It
was great, brother.
I haven't, work's been insane lately, so I haven't had a chance to listen to the Taz show as much. What has he said about being on the network and making the appearance? I
really haven't seen anything this week as well. I've been crazy busy.
He might be off this week too. Who knows?
I know he's off. He said on the Survivor Series special that they were off Thursday and Friday this week, so shouldn't be too hard. It shouldn't be too hard to catch up. You got some free time over the weekend. Yeah,
and so make sure to use that hashtag ECW Untold to let the WWE know how much you appreciated that show and want more. I told Taz, I said it was great to see Taz on the show, and wish the show was 3 times as long though.
Yeah.
It could have easily been 3 hours, and I could have easily watched the entire thing and not blink an eye. All right, NXT for this week. Basically, as always, after a takeover, kind of a residual of matches prior to the live special, the live pay-per-view special. Still a pretty cool show, though. Kick it off with Rich Swann getting a gigantic ovation from the 10,000 in the crowd at the Air Canada Centre. Rich Swann, of course, we'll talk about in a little bit, but we'll jump ahead a hair. Rich Swann won a triple threat match on Raw to become the number one contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, and that match is going to that match is now going to take place on the debut of 205 Live, which is this Tuesday on the WWE Network, and of course, Lost in the Midcard will be covering that show. That'll be airing right after SmackDown, so as soon as SmackDown goes off the air on USA, make sure to hop on the network and get yourself some 205 Live. He took on a very promising guy that I like a lot, Kona Reeves, who a new name. You were like, who's Kona Reeves? He looks familiar, but Kona Reeves, he was Noah Pachis before, and but they did a little name change to Kona Reeves. I see a lot of promise in this guy, so hopefully things click for him. Him and Swan got it on for about 5 minutes before the music of Sanity hit, and the crowd went kind of nuts for that. Obviously, I mean, EY is from Canada, so
yeah.
Crowd loves them some EY. And so the crowd goes nuts for Sanity. Sanity makes their entrance. And I love their entrance, Matt, when they're facing the crowd and then they turn around and face the ring with this crazed look on their face. I love it. I love it. But Sanity beats the shit out of Kona and Rich Swann. To show that the crowd that they're there. And EY wheelbarrow neckbreaker, man, that thing was badass looking, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was sick.
That move it was going so fucking fast. I thought Sawyer Fulton made that move, and then EY did it again. I'm like, oh, EY did that move. Okay, that's even more impressive that EY did that move. But very cool, and they went to commercial break after EY actually. Got on the mic and said that we tried to do it your way, and we have nothing to show for it. We're not going to ask permission or seek approval. We're here to take. And that was pretty cool by Sanity. And they come back from commercial. Sanity's music's still playing. No Way Jose is in the ring tending to Rich Swann, and he gets on the microphone and challenges the leader, EY, to a fight. EY obliges, but it didn't take long before the rest of Sanity to gang up on No Way Jose, and so we didn't really get a match out of that. Daria Berenato doing some shadow boxing backstage, and she's approached by Billie Kay and Peyton Royce about being their third in a six-woman tag match in the main event of NXT this week, and she's on board because it involves beating people up. So very cool. What do you think of Daria? You got some hope for her?
Yeah, I think Daria has a ton of talent, but I think it was very clear when she was kind of fed to the wolves tonight. But I think it's a setup for Royce and Kay to eventually join up with Mandy. I think Mandy fits their character style a lot more than Daria does, and I definitely think that's where that's going to end up going.
I made the joke to you on Twitter tonight that she's the female lethal weapon, as in Steve Blackman, but yes. It's true. She's kind of like a female version of Steve Blackman, so to speak. So far,
you'll give her some time, and hopefully she'll be the female version of Ken Shamrock instead.
Yeah, hopefully she doesn't start dancing.
Yeah, exactly.
Awkwardly. Oh, we remember that one, don't we? Oh, boy. They showed a recap of the finals of the Tag Classic and also did a little interview with Paul Ellering. A recap of Rude and Dillinger Takeover, great match. They caught up with Dillinger after the match, saying that showing his disappointment and how he's come up so short after coming so far. But the silver lining was 10,000 people gave him a standing ovation after the match, which was well-deserved. They showed a recap of Match of the Year contender, the 2 out of 3 falls NXT Championship match between DIY and The Revival. They also showed a recap of Mickie James and Asuka, and got Mickey's reaction backstage. She was in tears and said she's sad that it's over. It's so rare to feel the crowd the way that she felt the crowd on that night. And she said that she gave respect to Asuka, but lost a lot of it when Asuka wouldn't shake her hand afterwards. And so, as Matt said on our Monday night edition of Lost in the Midcard this week, the door is wide open for Mickey to return. So hopefully Mickey does make a return, whether it be NXT or WWE. Wherever she goes, the women's division in that place is going to benefit. And I almost think, Matt, just to shake things up, put her on Raw, because you know how poorly booked that's been lately, you know.
Well, I don't know if that would do her any favors.
If you get another star on Raw, maybe that'll break up the monotony and finally wake up the writers. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Raw creative team as far as the women's division goes.
Or a lot of anything, as a lot of anything goes on Raw. SmackDown,
I don't know. For the most part, I really enjoyed Raw this week. I just hated the Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn shit.
But since the split, it's been clear that the writing and the storytelling on SmackDown has far trumped anything Raw has done.
Well, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, like, overall, I thought Raw was really good on Monday night.
They tell us that No Way Jose versus Eric Young will happen next week. Are they taping next week, Matt, or this week?
They taped NXT prior to SmackDown Live last night.
Okay.
So they taped it in the SmackDown arena.
So we will get our first true NXT show after TakeOver next week then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was an NXT show.
Yeah, it was, but it was mainly a pre-show matches and a recapped kind of show.
Oh, but I thought they did pretty good with what they had.
But the 6 women match to end the night was really good. I enjoyed it.
Until Ember Moon tried to break Daria's neck.
Yeah. Liv Morgan, Aaliyah, Matt's favorite female wrestler on NXT.
Yes.
Ember Moon against Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and Daria Baronato. Very cool, very good match between the ladies. I think they showed up real well in front of the crowd at Toronto. I can see improvement in Liv Morgan for sure. Daria has not had much TV time yet, but hopefully she will soon. Hell, she'll probably be feuding with Billie Kay next until we get to the point where Billie Kay is going to challenge for that women's title. I'm going to guess that Billie Kay is going to feud with Daria as they left her high and dry on tag, leaving Daria to take the Eclipse from Ember Moon, but Ember jumped kind of early, so it looked awkward and damn near about fucked up Daria's neck.
Yeah, it did not look good. I mean, I normally really like the look of that move, but Daria wasn't in a good position, and there was no way that Ember should have jumped when she did. She should have waited. It was honestly just plain dangerous.
And then they made the announcement 2 weeks at the NXT Live event in Osaka, Japan, will be the rematch Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe. They got word from Shinsuke as he's leaving the arena at TakeOver, and he just basically said, I want my rematch with Joe as soon as possible. And as Matt said, probably fully expect Nakamura to get that title back in Japan.
It just makes sense.
We've been away for a couple of weeks, Matt, but fill us in with what has gone on with TNA versus Billy Corgan. Yeah, that says it all.
To be honest, a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
To be perfectly frank, I mean, the lawsuit in the court is still ongoing, but they claim that there has been some kind of settlement between the two parties, and I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't watched 1 minute of TNA wrestling since the court denied Corgan's initial allegations in the case. I just completely stopped supporting TNA as a product overall. I've had it. I don't want to support anything that Dixie Carter has anything to do with right now. If they want me to, if I'm going to start watching TNA again, it will probably require Dixie Carter to no longer be a part of that company.
Well,
I've pretty much had enough.
If it comes out on that end, basically that she wins, I mean, she's probably going to get out as soon as she can, right?
I surely fucking hope so. I want her gone. I'm bummed out that I'm missing all the great Matt Hardy stuff right now that I'm hearing about. I'll probably end up YouTubing it and just watching the Hardy stuff. But I surely don't want to watch their program as a whole.
Yeah, very unfortunate situation where Billy Corgan basically was rejected the restraining order, so still kind of waiting in limbo. As of November 22nd, which would have been yesterday or Tuesday, as you're listening to the podcast, there's an order noted that at the request of the counsel for both Corgan and the defendants, that the extension further the interest of judicial economy and efficiency. So Mike Johnson from PW Insider says either the two sides have settled and it'll be officially filed with the court today, or the defendants will be filing some sort of response to the case, such as a motion to dismiss. So we're probably next week, early next week, probably going to get a huge update on that whole situation. Matt, you attended Ring of Honor in Baltimore at the end of October, correct?
Unfortunately.
Oh, I was going to ask what your thoughts were on that.
Dude, it was awful.
Why was that?
It was a 5-hour show. That look, when you have a 5-hour show and you have people wrestling multiple times on the same card, and Adam Cole, who was there because he appeared on the show, and you don't have your world champion wrestle one time, and you advertise the Young Bucks for 3 months, and then the week of the show they're pulled from advertising and they're not there. Creatively, the show was awful. 5 hours is way too long for any wrestling show to sit there and try to maintain your interest. And I'm pretty sure that's where I contracted my flu virus from somebody in that building. Was a good time was not had by me. Let me put it that way.
Not really that good at television, huh?
No, I really didn't care for it at all. I mean, there were a handful of good matches, but when you only have a handful of good matches sprinkled over 5 hours, I just didn't think it was. I just didn't think it was a good event at all.
And how was the Women of Honor?
Well, the thing they did with the Women of Honor, kind of unfortunately just made the show even longer. Because the way they advertised everything going on was they were going to tape 4 episodes of TV with Women of Honor. So everybody just assumed, all right, we're getting 3 episodes of ROH, we're getting an episode of Women of Honor. That's a 4-hour show. That's not bad. You start at 6, you end at 10. You got a little intermission in between, and it's tolerable. It's fine. What they chose to do with the Women of Honor this go around is they did legitimately tape 4 episodes of ROH TV, and throughout the entire evening, they did Women of Honor matches, which I'm assuming they're just going to take them and splice them all together and make an episode out of it. So essentially, we had 5 episodes taped, 1 being Women of Honor, but it wasn't taped in order. Like, they just sprinkled the Women of Honor matches throughout the entire show, and that's how they ended up handling things. It just made everything feel that much longer. So
just feels like Ring of Honor is not clicking right now.
Yeah, and it's really disappointing. Like, I want them to click.
Yeah.
But they're really not clicking right now.
Back to some headlines. It was while we were gone a couple weeks ago, announced that ESPN Films 30 for 30 is going to have a special called "This Was the XFL." It's going to premiere in February, featuring Dick Ebersol and Vince McMahon. 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern on February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Matt, will you be eventually tuning in to watch the XFL documentary?
I won't say I'll go out of my way to watch it on like the night it premieres or whatever. But if ESPN's running it late at night at one thing, then they like to do that a lot. They air those specials in the AM hours. If I see it on, I'll watch it. but like I'm not gonna go out of my way to, you know, to see it when it debuts or anything like that.
According to the press release, a bold challenge, a fearless experiment, and ultimately a spectacular failure. In 2001, sports entertainment titans Ebersol and McMahon launched the XFL. It was hardly the first time a league had tried to compete with the NFL, but the brash audacity of the bid, combined with the personalities and charisma of Ebersol and McMahon and the marketing behemoths of their respective companies, NBC and WWE, captured headlines and a sense of undeniable anticipation of what was to come. It lasted a year. So it'll be very interesting to see. Obviously, we both tuned into the XFL 15 years ago, Matt. And obviously, week one was a rousing success. But as the weeks went on, it dropped like a fucking rock. And why do you think it did that, Matt? Do you think it was just the talent level?
No, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think one of the XFL's biggest problems was the production of week one. I think the camera angles and the way they presented the product in the first week weren't good. And you only have one chance to make a first impression. And I think the way the cameras and everything were presented in week one of the XFL turned a lot of people off, and they didn't come back. They figured out the right cameras and everything, and they got it right in like weeks 2 and 3 and so on. You know, they got the cameras and presentation to be what it's supposed to be. But yeah, I think week one was a failed experiment, and they never got back the momentum that they lost. That they lost from how they handled the production of the first week, because the first week's ratings were very, very good. But the production and the way it was handled did not match the expectations, and that's what hurt it.
And on top of that, it's kind of hard to sit there and listen to a full football game being called by Jim Ross and was it Ross and Lawler or Ross and Ventura?
I don't know. I know they had mixed commentary teams throughout the season. I didn't mind Jim Ross at all. Jim Ross knows his football.
Yeah.
I thought the ones with him and Ventura were actually pretty entertaining. I surely didn't mind the commentary. It was very heavily about the production values and the camera angles that turned me off in the first week. But you know, I was still going to watch anyway because it was football. But you know, a lot of people gave up and tuned out. So by the time they corrected their problems, it was just too late.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of the commentary, though. And you can, I believe, watch full XFL games on YouTube pretty damn easily. So if you really want to check it out. Of course, one thing that was born in the XFL that is still alive today is the Spider Cam. That was first used in the XFL, and that's used in everywhere in sporting events, not just football. So that's the one thing that came out of the XFL. A couple of official signees to the WWE. Both cruiserweights, Tony Nese and Drew Gulak, are now officially members of the WWE roster, which is awesome because both guys are top-notch talents. So they will be at that new 205 show next week as well. So that's good for those guys. I know they surprised. I think they surprised Tony Nese. I don't know if it was if it was an Evolve show or if it was an NXT live show, but they surprised him with a contract. I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
I think it was Evolve.
Speaking of Evolve, something real weird happened while we're on a hiatus. Joey Styles is now gone from Evolve after he said a famous Trump quote about grabbing her by the pussy.
Which he didn't even say the last word.
No, he bleeped it out. And then he turned to Stokely Hathaway, who was in the ring, and goes, "Speaking of the word I didn't use, this brings me to you." And Gabe Sapolsky said, "I don't like it," and fired Styles on the spot, basically. Sapolsky took to Twitter, said, "We parted ways with Joey Styles. That's my final comment on this. Thank you for your support."
Yeah, final comment, my ass.
Yep.
Gabe,
Joey
big
Styles,
whiny little social media bitch.
Joey Styles wrote an open letter and posted that about a week and a half ago. I'm not going to go into it, but if you search for open letter from Joey Styles in regards to the Evolve situation, you'll easily be able to find Joey Styles' stuff there. some things. He goes, he apologized. Apologized to the locker room. No, it didn't seem like anybody was really upset, according to Joey.
No, it was just Gabe.
Just Gabe. And then on top of all of that, at the same time, Timothy Thatcher had a pretty bad concussion on the show as well. They had to take him to the hospital. What do you think of this whole situation?
I think it's much ado about nothing. I think it's down to Gabe being a big baby. And I think every promotion that decided to dogpile on Joey Styles afterwards and decided to make an even bigger deal out of nothing is just as guilty as Gabe is. And I think they all should all be ashamed of themselves.
Do you think it's a knee-jerk reaction because there are rumblings that Evolve might have a part on Monday Night Raw eventually with the Cruiserweight division?
I've never heard that, and I don't believe that's true.
That came out on Pro Wrestling Insider while we were gone.
Yeah, I don't believe that's true, and honestly, I think Gabe's booking
came from Mike Johnson, so he's usually right.
Yeah, well, I still don't believe it. And I think Evolve's booking is garbage. I think
you were at their show at Mania.
Yeah, I think Gabe is one of the most overrated bookers in the business today, and I'm not impressed with the Evolve product. I'm impressed with some of the talent that's there, but the creative and the way the booking is handled there, I don't like it at all. And to be perfectly honest, I could care less about Evolve and the guy who runs it.
New WWE trademark filed. Earn the Day. Any ideas, Matt?
I have not a clue.
Me either. Better than Lady Balls, though.
Well, duh.
Dummy, yeah. A very interesting guest coach was at the Performance Center a couple of weeks ago. None other than former ECW World Champion and Ring of Honor announcer Steve Corino. He was a guest coach at the Performance Center during the second week of November. Mike Johnson at PW Insider says that Carino's current deal with Ring of Honor is up at the end of the year. So you found it kind of interesting that Corino showed up as a guest coach in the WWE. Possibly maybe a relationship down the road between the Performance Center and Mr. Corino. Some sad news to report. Last week, Big Van Vader took to Twitter and said, told by two heart doctors at this time that my heart is worn out from football and wrestling and I have 2 years to live. Congestive heart failure reality. So very sad news coming from one of my favorites from growing up in the 80s in WCW. Vader was truly a great talent and a good man, and you could catch him in Table for Three on the network with Sting and DDP, Matt. And so very sad news for one of the greats in the business.
Yeah, I'll induct him into the Hall of Fame before it's too late.
Please. Hey, Matt, I know you're going to celebrate, or you already have been celebrating. You probably haven't stopped celebrating since last week when this came out, that Total Bellas has been renewed for Season 2.
Honestly, I stopped watching it halfway through.
I haven't watched a single episode. Why'd you stop?
I didn't like how much they focused and targeted Daniel Bryan's anxiety and depression. It's honestly, it's really hard to watch. And I didn't really care to continue to look at Daniel Bryan in that light.
What light were they showing him in?
Just honestly, just the truth of how bad depression and anxiety can be. And honestly, like when those guys are like, larger than life, to you and me and other people, and to see them going through that stuff, it's rough. And it was rough watching Daniel Bryan have to suffer through that. And honestly, I just couldn't watch anymore. I tuned into Total Divas last week, the season premiere. I thought that was fantastic.
Was Ambrose on it?
I think briefly. Like, I don't think he was really focused on episode 1, but I'm sure he's going to be on throughout the season.
Yeah.
But I thought episode 1 was fantastic. It was focused around WrestleMania, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode and whatnot. So,
WWE is opposing a trademark that Ryback has filed.
who cares?
Ryback is trying to trademark the big guy, and it's for a dietary and nutritional supplement, and actually not for wrestling is what Ryback's going for here. And according to PW Insider, WWE has until February 15th to file an opposition or request more time. And Matt's also doing backflips for this news, and this time I'm not sarcastic. A new Ring of Honor television champion has been crowned in
Twice.
his debut. In his debut at Ring of Honor, Will Ospreay pins Bobby Fish to become the new television champion in Liverpool, England. This occurred on November 18th, and Matt is ecstatic.
Yeah, I was ecstatic till they decided to turn the television championship into a hot potato.
Oh, he lost it already, huh?
Yeah, he lost already to like Marty Scurll or
Scroll, yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, so
Yeah, he was in the Battle of Los
changed.
Angeles.
TV title changed 2 times in like a week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's in the Battle of Los Angeles. Speaking of Ring of Honor, we have now know who Cody Rhodes' opponent is at Final Battle, and it's going to be a good one. None other than Jay Lethal. So that'll be something to definitely look forward to in December when Final Battle hits us. Bobby Roode was a guest on The Law live audio wrestling this past weekend to promote his match with Ty Dillinger at NXT Takeover and discuss some things. First off was if he needed a WWE run for his career, and Bobby goes, I think so, yeah. Obviously, starting out in the business has been 17 years for me now. The dream obviously has been to be a part of WrestleMania, be a part of the big stage. I've had an opportunity, and I'm thankful for my opportunities in the past where I've been and the companies I've worked for. I can honestly say now that I'm in the WWE, there's no better place to be. There's no bigger stage than being in the WWE. I'm grateful for the opportunity. It's only been 5 months. If you would have asked me 5 months ago if I would have thought I'd had this much success so soon, I probably would have said you're crazy, but things happen for a reason. Again, timing is everything. I've been given this opportunity with this glorious song, and it's evolved into a really big thing. It's been a lot of fun. In regards to his decision to leave TNA, he said, for me, I got this business because I love it. I love sports entertainment. I love pro wrestling. I had a passion for it for 17 years. Does this not sound familiar, Matt? Near the end of my career at TNA, I didn't have that passion anymore.
Well,
I didn't love leaving the house. I didn't love going to work. I loved being around the guys, you know what I mean? The locker room was always great, but I just didn't enjoy it anymore. I wanted to step away for a while, figure out what I wanted to do. WWE gave me this opportunity. I flew down to WrestleMania weekend in Dallas, met some people, had really good conversations. Just being backstage at the Takeover event and watching the Takeover event from the very first moment, just getting a sniff of what it's like, slowly started to bring back that passion. I really wanted to be a part of it, and so I've been really grateful for the opportunity. And then finally, Rude was asked if NXT has added years to his career. And he goes, I think so. I think the only thing this is the only thing I'm really good at. So I don't know what else I would do, but it's really rejuvenated me. I feel like I'm young again. I feel like I'm right in the middle of my prime. I feel like I have years and years ahead of me. You know what I mean? I'm almost 17 years into the business, and I feel like I could go another 15 or 16 more, to be honest with you. I'm just having fun, and I have all that passion back. I look forward to getting back on the road all the time and being a part of NXT shows and just being a part of it all. I got in this business for a reason, and everything that's going on right now with WWE and with NXT is the reason why I'm in this business, and I'm having so much fun. So, Matt, great words from Bobby Roode there. And gee, are you surprised what he said about TNA?
Nope.
I think somebody else in NXT probably, was in that same situation by the name of Samoa Joe, right?
I think a lot of people from TNA and NXT were in that situation.
Sad news for Rhino. He lost his bid to become the House representative.
Good news for us. That means he's sticking around.
Yes. I'm just one man! He had 35.6% of the vote, as opposed to the winner having 64.4%. So no Rhino in your government. After Goldberg squashes Brock Lesnar, did that affect the Raw ratings? No.
I think it did, to be perfectly honest.
Slight increase to 3 million.
Yeah, but I mean, look at hour 1. people tuned in to see Goldberg. They put him out there first, and the ratings went down as the evening went on. Like, if you look at hour one, anybody who wanted to tune in from the Survivor Series wanted to tune in to see what was going to happen with Goldberg. And they got to see that in the first hour where they drew almost 3.2 million people. It's just clear that those people that wanted to see what was going on with Goldberg didn't really care about what was going on throughout the rest of the night, and they tuned out. So yes, I do believe Goldberg brought some ratings in on Monday night. They just weren't able to keep it with the other talent that those people don't care about at the moment. And the sad but true, that's just the way it is right now, because Vince hasn't done a good enough job making the other talents on the Raw roster important enough. And that's on him.
And SmackDown, after November 8th, suffering its only second ever sub 2 million performance since going to USA with a dismal 1.9 million. SmackDown 900 with Undertaker coming back, Edge. That shot the ratings up to 2.7 million, the highest, third highest that it had been since the brand split. And they still kind of staved that, or still had a little bit of that momentum. They did have a drop of 200,000, but still at 2.5 million. You have to go back to early September before they had 2.5 million, outside of the SmackDown 900 numbers. So SmackDown doing pretty damn good in the ratings so far on the latter part of November. Conor McGregor and the WWE are two things that are being talked about together again as of late. And it almost sounds like McGregor's all about it and goes, if the WWE is going to come around with an offer, we're willing to entertain it. I personally, as a fan of McGregor, Matt, I hope it happens. I think it can only be good for the sport, much like Ronda Rousey, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, and McGregor is a tailor-made guy for the WWE, don't you agree?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, if they're going to do something interesting with it, do it.
Yeah, for sure. And it almost sounds like Rousey's, on the tail end of her career. So,
yeah, dude, she's on her way out. And anybody who thinks differently is out of their damn mind.
Do you think she will? She seems to have the passion. You think she would be a full-time WWE performer?
I don't know. I don't know if I go full time.
I don't know about 300 days on the road, but maybe a Brock Lesnar like schedule, maybe a little more.
Yeah, something.
Because obviously she's obviously gonna do movies and stuff too. So maybe a John Cena like schedule. Let's just say
that would be more accurate, probably.
Monday Night Raw takes place from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Of course, the thing now with the big 4 pay-per-views, where we will kick it off with Takeover and stay in that same building until Monday Night Raw. And so follow from Survivor Series, of course, everybody stunned as fuck, just like us, of Goldberg taking out Brock Lesnar in 86 seconds. Smart by the WWE to announce ahead of time that Goldberg was going to kick off Raw. And they show him walking backstage past a lot of the talent as he goes to the gorilla and makes his entrance into the ring. And the crowd just with a huge ovation for Goldberg. And then, of course, your same old stupid chants. You still got it. Really, Matt? Can we just stop with those? I mean,
clearly not.
No, they did it to Shane McMahon on SmackDown too. It's like,
I'd rather have the fans be vocal than sit on their hands and say nothing.
True. But he thanked the crowd for giving him the ability to come back into the ring and be Goldberg again. He thanked his wife and his son, who were at ringside. He said his boy gave him the ability to be a superhero again. He looked into the camera and said that he did what he was going to do. When he came, he fought. He conquered the beast Brock Lesnar. He said, all good things must come to an end. The old tease like he did when he returned to Raw a month back. Fans started chanting no. He said after the match, he ran into Stephanie McMahon, and she said, Goldberg was right. He had one hell of an ass-kicking left in him, and then she asked Goldberg, does he have one more title run in him? And when he said that, Matt, what were your thoughts?
I already knew it was gonna be the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, honestly, I wasn't surprised. But, I mean, it's still freaking cool.
Yeah, it was cool to hear it come out of his mouth. He says that at the Royal Rumble match, everyone is next, and he drops the mic, hugs his son, kisses his wife, and says goodbye to the crowd. And then some smart marks chanted, "You screwed Brett."
They're so cool.
But my dream came true. It's not one and done with Goldberg. I think he's done such a phenomenal job since he's come back in all aspects of things. So it's awesome that he's going to be in the Rumble. And as we said on Lost in the Midcard the other day, Matt fully expects that Lesnar will be in the Rumble and they'll take each other out to set up WrestleMania. New Day and Cesaro and Sheamus backstage. They get into a shoving match just before the commercial as their title match is up next. And Xavier Woods on the mic says that they led their team to victory, though they were out there for, 20 seconds, Matt? I think he was being a little jokish on that. But he goes, I know we were eliminated early, but great captains always lead their team to victory. He talks about how Demolition held the tag titles for 478 days. Kofi adds that in 23 days, that record will be demolished. And
crowd booed.
Biggie's like, ooh, booze. Ooh, there's some booze there. Pretty funny. We get to our tag team title match. Cesaro and Sheamus, Big E and Kofi. I love it when they start the match and 1 minute later go to commercial. And when I say I love it, I mean it's fucking stupid.
And I hate how the fact that they're lining up tag title matches on Raw right now leading to this record being broken. Because you already know the goddamn results of every single one of these fucking matches before they fucking happen.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute about the other one that's being set up, which I don't know why they set this up so quick, but
yeah, it's annoying as shit.
But a very, very good match, as usual, between Cesaro and Sheamus, Kofi, and Big E. Cesaro and Sheamus, when they quit doing their stupid shtick of hating each other, when they're on the same page, they actually do turn into a great tag team. Eventually, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if these guys are going to be the guys to knock off New Day or if it's going to be the club, but I think it's obviously going to be one of those two teams. And hey, that Ty Dillinger's kind of over, isn't he? Every time there was a counting thing, instead of counting 1 to 10, they would chant 10 every time. I was hoping Dillinger would just make a cameo on Raw, just to make the crowd just go fucking nuts. But hopefully at the Royal Rumble he has entrant number 10, because that would just be perfect.
Well, they're missing out on a very entertaining aspect if they choose to ignore that.
And so just as Sheamus and Cesaro look like they're going to get the upper hand and take the tag titles away from the New Day, Xavier Woods gets up on the apron with his trombone and starts playing it. And Cesaro had the sharpshooter on Kofi at the time and let it go, which is dumb. Kofi was tapping, but why would you let it go and charge Xavier? Why don't you just keep it on Kofi? But hey,
because
sometimes
pro wrestling has done this stupid logic for the last 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never let the damn submission hold go either. It's just stupid. Who cares if someone's standing on the damn apron? I'm keeping the damn submission locked in.
I keep hitting the button, but then you keep talking. Dummy, yeah!
You've done the damn dummy yeah enough tonight.
No, I haven't.
More than
I'm sure Mark Cho would say, our buddy Mark Cho would say, no, I have not done it enough.
Mark Cho's sick. Be nice.
I know he is suffering from the death flu. It must have traveled overseas from Matt.
Dude, I'm telling you, if he's got what I got, my heart goes out to him, man.
Doesn't seem like he's in that good a shape right now, so hopefully he gets well soon. But inside cradle by Kofi during all that hubbub and distraction gets them the win. Obviously, this cheap win by the New Day will enable the a rematch down the line, I would fully assume. But a good match between them nonetheless. Chris Jericho is shown backstage. Gigantic ovation for him in Toronto. They love him. Charlie Caruso interviews him and about last night. He said Raw lost when somebody grabbed the list and the pages of his deepest thoughts were spread everywhere. He said later on the highlight reel, we'll find out who is to blame. We get a shot back from commercial. Enzo Amore is naked outside the male locker room. I thought it was funny that there's a sign that says male locker room on it. But anyways, Enzo walking down the hallway with everything hanging
fair,
out.
You can't say Superstar's locker room anymore.
That's true. Enzo walking down the hallway with everything hanging out, and they digitize the stuff. Shining Stars said they have a resort for people like him. I thought that was probably the funniest thing the Shining Stars have ever said, Matt.
It's only taken them 6 months.
Titus O'Neil told him to put some damn clothes on, and then Lana, whoa, Enzo, hey, how you doing? That was kind of funny. Rusev walks up and goes, what's he doing naked in front of his wife? And then Big Cass shows up. And Rusev's all mad and wants to take on Enzo in a match. And leaves with putting his hand over Lana's face to cover her eyes. I thought that was funny as fuck.
Rusev's great, dude.
Give Rusev a goddamn world championship next year. This year's about over. Do it this year. Why not? Fuck it. Turn him face. Have him beat Kevin Owens. That ain't gonna happen, but. Oh, man. We got a couple of haters. They show some images from Survivor Series, as always. Focusing this time on Sami Zayn losing the match to The Miz and Stephanie and Mick are backstage celebrating that Goldberg's in the Rumble and talking about how they dominated Survivor Series with wins in 3 of the 5 matches. Well, except they lost the main one.
Yeah, but don't gloss over that.
Yeah. Stephanie says she wasn't really serious about firing people, just wanted to motivate them. And Sami Zayn shows up and fully told Zayn that he's a fan, he's a believer, but he did not bring the Intercontinental title over to Raw like he had hoped. And Zayn said that nobody's more heartbroken than I am, and Foley said there has to be ramifications for this failure. I thought right then and there...
Mick Foley, you're a fucking dickhead.
I thought right then and there they were trading him to SmackDown. I had my hopes up.
I wish they would have.
I know. I had my hopes up that they were going to trade him to SmackDown because he's sitting there pissing in the wind in Raw. I mean, come on. Match of the year with Kevin Owens. And you do what with him after that?
Yeah, they're absolutely wasting him on the Raw brand right now.
Foley said there has to be ramifications for the failure, even though Miz and Maurice cheated. But hey, you know. So why would you punish him for the other guy cheating, having his wife ring the bell? I don't know. But that punishment is to put Zayn in a match with Braun Strowman. Cedric Alexander makes his entrance into a big pop from the crowd. Good to see, a big crowd like the night after a major pay-per-view give a guy like Cedric Alexander such a big ovation. I love that. He took on Arya Daivari, basically a little showcase to promote 205 Live, which starts next week on the WWE Network. Lumbar check by Alexander, gets the win after 4 minutes. Next up is the highlight reel with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho gets a gigantic ovation from the Toronto crowd, and props to the guy with a sign in the crowd that says, "I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot." Was it somebody yelled at him one time when he was like outside the ring near the crowd? Somebody yelled at him to go back to Toronto or something. Wasn't that what they said, Adam? You remember?
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Go back to
They
Ontario
told
or whatever.
Yeah, they said go back to Toronto. He goes, I'm from Winnipeg,
You
you
idiot.
idiot. That was a long time
A
ago.
long time ago.
Jericho's got the list in his hands. He says he's calling this the autopsy to the biggest upset in Survivor Series history when Team Raw lost to SmackDown Live. He wants to find out who is at fault and why this travesty happened. And before Jericho could say too much more, Kevin Owens comes out. And again, another ovation, as he's a great Canadian, much like Chris Jericho. Owens says he knows who to blame, so he figured he would show everyone. And he asked if he could use the Jeritron 5000 to demonstrate, and Jericho goes, it's the Jeritron 6500. You were here when I upgraded it. Of course, they're playing it off like Owens and Jericho are mad at each other. And Owens uses Jericho's line, monkeys in the truck, show me the first picture. And they show that Jericho's about ready to get hit with a Styles Clash. The next picture, as we all know, Owens hitting Styles with the list of Jericho and the deepest, darkest thoughts of Jericho spewing all over the ring. And Jericho goes, are you my best friend? And he goes, if you are my best friend, you know how much this list means to me. Owens goes, who cares? Which the crowd went, oh, no, you didn't. And Jericho goes, I care, because the list means everything to me. And Owens says that he is Jericho's best friend. He sacrificed himself for you, because when Owens hit Styles, that list was saving Jericho. He was capitalizing on it. But instead of capitalizing on it, what'd you do? You walked right into an RKO because you were worried about the list, and you got eliminated. And Owens said that RKO was a waste of our friendship. Jericho said, if that's how he really feels, then maybe they didn't have much of a friendship to begin with. Jericho claimed that every week it's the same thing. An RKO, a pedigree, a spear. Owens is never there to have his back. Jericho says he knows who's at fault for their loss at Survivor Series. Owens says, I know who it is too. And they both at the same time look pissed off and say, Roman Reigns! And that was fucking hilarious, Matt.
Because it was Roman's fault.
It was, yeah. It is. That was fucking hilarious, though. Just the setup to them both saying Roman Reigns at the same time. Oh my god, I loved it. Because the best friends are still best friends. They hug it out. But that was really cool. I was hoping, I was afraid they were going to split because Jericho's getting all of this cheering, and I was afraid Survivor Series was going to be the split, so kind of cool that it wasn't.
At first you were afraid, you were petrified.
Good job there, thank you. I will survive. Owen says he would never compromise the list because he knows how much it means to Jericho. And Jericho goes, Reigns didn't help anybody. And then his other hair conditioner brother didn't either. I thought that was kind of a funny line, too. Rollins comes out. And they start getting into it. Rollins says he wants a one-on-one title match with Kevin Owens tonight for the Universal title. And crowd starts chanting yes, and Owens says, stop, because that guy that used to do that isn't relevant anymore. Whoops!
What a jerky McJerk face.
I know. Damn Canadian. Jericho calls Rollins a stupid idiot and said he didn't believe what he was saying, and Rollins said he's going to take that title from Owens. He guesses he'll have to run through them both to do it. So he gets in the ring to fight him. Roman Reigns comes out and saves Rollins. And Mick Foley then comes out and says that Rollins is correct in saying he's promised a future opportunity and set up a no disqualification match tonight. Owens and Rollins with Jericho and Reigns banned from ringside.
By God.
That was a great highlight reel, was it not, Matt?
Yeah, it was solid, man. I didn't have any complaints.
And it's Roman Reigns' fault.
Always is.
The ravishing Russian Lana. I love when she says, talks to the crowd and says America in Canada, and they boo her.
She's done it twice this year. She did that in the UK too.
Yeah, she did that in the UK too. I wondered if the first time it was a mistake and now it's a funny ha-ha. I think she meant to do it both times, but I don't know.
I think she's just so used to it. It's almost robotic at this point. And she just flat out forgets. It's the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages type deal.
It's even funnier when you do it in Canada.
Yeah, but I think she's completely stuck on the thing because they do it night after night after night, and you just flat out forget.
I think she accidentally did it in the UK based on her facial reaction because she kind of looked oops and then smiled. I think in Canada, I think she did it on purpose because she knew that would get some heat. Rusev and Enzo, as you could expect, did not go that long. And Enzo taps out to the accolade in about a minute. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows take on the Golden Truth. And as Matt was saying, they face the New Day for the tag team titles next week on Raw. Matt looked at my watch. It doesn't look like we're at 478 days next week, are we?
Yeah. It's a mess. I hate this type of booking.
But booking aside, I thought the Golden Truth and the Club had a good match. Especially for the fact that the Golden Truth has not been taken seriously at all. I thought they showed up pretty well against the Club. Obviously, the right team won, but I enjoyed this match. And that's what they need more of, is establish these teams to look credible. Breezango, for example, they're starting to kind of get on a halfway road. Guys like that deserve a push, or at least to be serious to have a good match. And so I was really happy that Anderson and Gallows and the Golden Truth had a good match. I was happy with that. Instead of it being just a 2-minute squash match, it was a solid 6-minute match that went back and forth.
I'm just surprised R-Truth was allowed back in Canada. He's been banned from Canada for years. Yeah. I figured the reason why the Golden Truth got taken off the Survivor Series team was because Truth still couldn't get in Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah,
maybe it took them
somehow they finally got the stuff worked out and got him back in there.
Was that a drug-related thing? Or?
I'm not really sure. I can't remember what it was related from. He might have had like marijuana or something in the car, or what point. I really don't remember.
They showed tickets going on sale for WrestleMania in Orlando, showing all the people in line with all their tickets and all that fun stuff. I don't think either Matt or I are going this year. Is that correct?
I'm not going.
Yeah, I'm not going either. Unless all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you want to go?"
Yeah, after last year, there's no way.
You could be Kevin Owens' manager. All right.
They'd have to offer me a lot more than that to get me to go.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, WrestleMania in Dallas soured me on the entire traveling experience.
It didn't me because
I absolutely hated it.
It didn't me because it was my first time.
I loved NXT. I loved Raw the night after. But when you're going for the main reason of being WrestleMania, I wasn't having any of it, man.
They announced that next year's Survivor Series will be in Houston, Texas. I don't know why they did that. When they did that in Takeover, I think they showed Takeover or something. I think they showed the same thing in Takeover. It got like a big round of boos. It's like, I don't know why they do that, but Sami Zayn, Braun Strowman. Basically, Sami Zayn did get punished because Braun Strowman beat the living shit out of him to the point where Mick Foley showed up on the ramp and said, "Braun, that's enough."
Shouldn't even have done the match in the first place, Mick. Mick, you're a dick.
You know what happens to general managers
who are a dick?
That are a dick and put our favorite talents in squash matches. You know what happens, Matt?
What happens?
You want to know what happens to general managers that are dicks that put our favorite talents in squash matches to make them look meaningless after they have a match of the year. You know what happens?
I already asked what happens, jobber.
You just made the list! I haven't had a pen ready to do the old click.
I heard. You must be very proud of yourself.
Apparently they're trying to break the record that was set by the Shining Stars with vignettes for Emelina, as she's still
this is
premiering
getting
soon.
ridiculous at this rate.
At least it's Emelina and she's hot, so I don't mind these vignettes.
It's still stupid as shit.
Charlotte comes out in with Dana Brooke, and they basically showed the beatdown that she gave Bayley after they won the match. Charlotte says that she's the Wayne Gretzky of the WWE, even better than him. So yeah, there you go. Some heat in Canada. Sasha Banks came out, and Banks told her to shut up. Said she still owe a championship rematch from Hell in a Cell. She wants that rematch right here, right now. And Charlotte acted like she would give her rematch right there, but then changed her mind and said next week Raw is in her hometown of Charlotte, so we're going to do it then. Nia Jax came to the ring and said, I'm not here for Charlotte, I'm here for Sasha. And she said that she had dominated the SmackDown Live team while Banks didn't do jack. She called Banks overrated, a purple-headed Barbie doll. Ooh, hurtful words that were probably written by Vince McMahon. Jax said that once she gets her title, or once she gets her title back, she'll show how overrated she is. Jax told Banks that when she stands next to her, she is not the boss. And so then that started a little physicality. Bayley comes out to make the save, and then Teddy Long appeared out of nowhere and said, "Players, we got a tag team match." So Charlotte and Nia Jax took on Bayley and Sasha Banks in a 6-minute match. Good match, kind of quick though. But the main thing here is that Sasha made Charlotte tap out to the Banks statement. Does this pretty much cement that Charlotte's retaining, or are we going to get our hometown screw job?
No, Charlotte retains. No titles change hands on Raw next week.
Brian Kendrick comes out to join commentary for the match between Rich Swann, Noam Dar, TJ Perkins. It is a triple threat #1 contendership. The winner gets to face Brian Kendrick at the debut of 205 Live this Tuesday, November 29th on the WWE Network. And a very good solid match. I kind of wish there was a little more time in this one. It went 8 minutes, but when it's a triple threat cruiserweight match, Matt, I almost like to see a good 12-15 minute match,
Yeah, I hear you.
This was good for what it was, and to nobody's surprise, Rich Swann comes out on top. Do you see Rich Swann beating Brian Kendrick on 205 Live? I say yes.
I say no.
Okay, we'll see who's right. I think they're gonna start it off with a bang and have a title change. Kevin Owens is interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and he called her Renee. I thought that was fucking funny. And then he called her Renee again and goes, "You're not Renee. Who are you?" Kevin Owens is so great. Oh, man. It is official. Charlotte against Sasha for the women's title, and New Day against Gallows and Anderson for the Raw tag titles. I still wonder what day it's going to be next Monday, Matt. I wonder. Let me know if you think I'm on the right track here, Matt. I think we're going to get a repeat next week where Xavier gets in and causes some kind of distraction for a roll-up, and then we get a triple threat match for the tag team titles. Do you think we might be heading in that direction?
You mean at the roadblock?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see a multi-man tag match being where New Day dropped the titles at roadblock, yes.
Yeah, because they did the heelish thing and caused the distraction to beat Cesaro and Sheamus. I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing against Anderson and Gallows, and then that sets up the roadblock match. Main event time, and damn was this good. No DQ match between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Amazing stuff from these guys. Towards the end of the match, though, Rollins was near the barricade, and a fan in a mask knocked him over. And then Rollins got into the tussle with that fan and took off the mask, and it was none other than Chris Jericho, who was supposed to be banned from ringside. But hey, Matt, did you notice what kind of mask Jericho was wearing?
Sin Cara mask, Nakamura hoodie.
Apparently him and Sin Cara got into it a couple weeks ago. Don't fuck with Sin Cara. I mean, dude's got a track record, right, Matt?
Don't fuck with Jericho either.
Yeah, true. Props for the Nakamura jacket, though. Rollins hit Jericho with a pedigree on the floor. Owens with a sidekick on Rollins and hits the powerbomb on the side of the apron and throws Rollins into the ring to get the pinfall at the 23-minute mark. Matt, I thought this was a great main event for Raw. You agree?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was good. I was expecting Triple H. So that was a little disappointing.
The Rollins dive off the balcony, kind of like what he did when Shield took on Evolution. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So, but a good 23-minute match between those guys. And after the match, Owens and Jericho hugging it out in the show. And as Matt said earlier, a very solid Monday Night Raw coming off of Survivor Series. Next up is SmackDown Live. They're in Ottawa for this one. Episode 901. Fresh off of the Big 900 show where The Miz got the Intercontinental title. The Undertaker made his return and basically said he's back for the foreseeable future, which is badass. And then, of course, we can see Edge. Always good to see Edge on the show. That was a good SmackDown 900. We head to 901. Shane McMahon comes out to a huge ovation, makes his way slowly to ring, selling his injuries. And he wasn't really selling. He really was injured after getting knocked the fuck out from that spear from Roman Reigns. Big Shane O'Mac chant from the crowd in Ottawa. He says he's not his own normal, energetic self. Feels like he's been in a car accident. Oh, hey, look, Matt, there's those "you still got it" chants. Hey, Matt, you still got it. You still got it, by the way.
I appreciate that. Such a nice guy.
He says that Roman nearly separated him from his Jordans. Nice pop there for the Jordans. They'll probably send him some more free ones now. Shane wanted to specifically thank the Soul Survivors, Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. And then mentioned about how AJ and Dean could not get along. Ambrose makes his entrance to a big ovation. He was buddy-buddy with Shane McMahon, but Shane didn't want to have it. But Ambrose goes, I got to bring out the MVP of the team, James Ellsworth. Another big pop for the man. Ellsworth with a giant neck brace on after Braun Strowman killed him, basically. And Ambrose goes, you got to tell him? You got to tell him? And Shane's like, we're going to do this behind closed doors. And he goes, come on, you're going to tell him he's got a contract. And so Dean spills the beans. And James Ellsworth has a SmackDown contract. And then Shane says, Ambrose, you need to leave the building. You've been too much of a lunatic as of late. Matt, he's the lunatic fringe.
What's your point?
Is there ever such a thing as being too much of a lunatic when it's Dean Ambrose?
I don't know. I think they took Dean a little too far on SmackDown last night. I thought it just got to the point of hokey.
What point was hokey? The goon or the Mountie?
The whole thing was just I like Dean, but I felt the whole thing with him last night was just completely over the top. And if you truly do that, and completely, disrespectful to the guy who's running the show, he should have been traded. Honestly, Shane should have lost it and said, you know what, I'm trading you to Raw. I can't deal with you anymore. And should have traded him for somebody for Shane to just not do anything about it and just continue you gotta leave, even though you're gonna come back in 5 minutes. It's just Like, I feel like it really made Shane look really stupid.
It almost seemed like, though, Daniel Bryan was trying to be the media. Remember, like, at the end, he's like, when he came as the Mountie, and Daniel's like, Shane, why don't you just take the rest of the night off? You know, I think Daniel Bryan was trying to calm him down, and Shane was trying.
I still think it just made.
Is there a rift coming with Shane and Dean down the road? Do you think, or no?
I guess they could. There could be. I mean, I really don't know.
AJ Styles makes his way out after it was announced that James Ellsworth has a SmackDown contract, and Styles is pissed off and goes, "When did SmackDown Live become the land of undeserved opportunity?" Well, wait, what I say, AJ? Ellsworth has beaten you twice.
Shut your
But
mouth. So disrespectful.
Styles challenges Ellsworth to a match on SmackDown, a ladder match with the contract up in the air. If AJ Styles grabs that contract, he's going to rip it up in Ellsworth's face. If Ellsworth is able to grab the contract, he is on SmackDown Live full time. Miz and Maurice were doing a photo shoot when Daniel Bryan walked up and basically said that Miz humiliated them for the way he beat Sami Zayn at Survivor Series and put him in an IC title match with Kalisto next. And I thought it was funny when they kept doing the photo shoot and they showed Miz getting pissed at Daniel and Daniel asking for a copy of that. I thought that was kind of funny. So here we go, Miz and Kalisto, and Matt, you probably could have saw this a mile away.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin interrupts about 7 minutes in, and the distraction causes Kalisto to go into the Skull Crushing finale, and Miz retains the Intercontinental Championship.
Speaking of another guy who needs to be traded.
In the end, Kalisto then grabs a chair, and Corbin runs for the hills. Kalisto challenges him to get back into the ring, and so Corbin obliges, and Kalisto throws the chair at Corbin and does a spinning heel kick into the chair. Gee, can we see that this is setting up a chairs match at TLC, Matt?
Yeah, that couldn't have been any more blatantly obvious.
As long as we don't get a stairs match this year. That was fucking dumb.
So stupid.
Tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs!
So do you think the tag title match is going to be a tables match?
Yeah, it'd be an easy, cheap way to get it off of Rhino and Slater without hurting them.
Yeah, I think Orton and Wyatt are going to win the tag titles.
Speaking of, hey, good segue, Matt. We have the tag team turmoil. 6 teams all together. 2 teams start. When one gets eliminated, the next one comes in. And once they get down to the final 2, the winner of that fall gets the tag team title match at TLC. Ascension and Hype Bros started out. Ascension started out hot, beating up the Hype Bros, but out of nowhere, the Hype Rider was hit on the Ascension, and bye-bye. Breezango comes in, and it took about all of a minute for Breezango to eliminate the Hype Bros. And then about a minute later, the Hype Bros were eliminated by... about a minute later, Breezango was eliminated by American Alpha. And I'm sorry, it was 5 teams, not 6. And then, after American Alpha eliminates them... Hey, the Vaudevillains, they're on a roll, aren't they, Matt?
Will you stop?
That was about 10 seconds before they got eliminated. And then finally...
I actually sent out a tweet, and I said, the Vaudevillains lasted about as long as I expected them to.
Yeah. And then finally it got good when we finally got down to the Alpha and the Usos. And that was a good match, as you could expect, between those 2 teams. But in the end, Usos went for a double team move, but Gable nailed a German suplex, and then Grand Amplitude was hit for the win as American Alpha wins the turmoil. After the win, the Wyatt music hits. And Wyatt said that American Alpha hasn't faced all the tag teams. And next week, Bray and Randy will face them. And so that was pretty cool. The unexpected to see that Orton and Wyatt are going to tag together. Orton was not at SmackDown because
for good reason.
His wife just gave birth to a baby girl. So congratulations to Randy and his wife. I like it. I like the pairing as a tag team, Matt. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I'm very interested to see where it goes.
Daniel Bryan talked to James Ellsworth, and Ellsworth said, Daniel saying, you don't have to do this. You already have the contract. He goes, I'm going to fight, and any man with 2 legs has a fighting chance to climb that ladder. Dean Ambrose shows up in a Mountie costume, and Shane walked in and said, you're being disrespectful.
Lost his fucking mind.
And insubordinate. And Shane goes, leave before I do something that I will regret. And Ambrose said, the Mountie always gets his man. Natalya takes on Becky Lynch. Went about 8 minutes before the sharpshooter was countered with a disarmer for Becky Lynch to get the W. Good match there between those two ladies. Bliss was at ringside on commentary, and at the end of the match, she hits Lynch with a DDT and poses over Lynch, as she will get her rematch eventually after the SmackDown 900 match, or not in SmackDown 900, a week before the 900 match in Glasgow, where her feet were on the ropes. The ref didn't see it, so Bliss had a legitimate gripe to get a rematch, which I don't get. I don't get this, Matt. Why are the GMs playing the ref decision as final card instead of being the good, fair GMs? You see what I'm saying here?
I see what you're saying, but it's WWE being weird. You know, I wish I could give you a better answer than that, but that's exactly what it is. It's WWE being weird.
Much like Monday with Enzo and Cass, which was entertaining. Equally as entertaining, Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley pimping the WWE shop, getting ready for Black Friday. So I thought those commercials were pretty funny with those guys.
Couple haters.
Got a couple haters. Daniel Bryan is in the office talking on the phone when the Miz shows up, and Maurice is holding an ice pack to his face. I thought that was funny. And Miz goes, well, you're probably going to give Ziggler another title match, aren't you? And he goes, well, Ziggler does reserve a rematch for losing his title. And this is the last time, no matter who wins or loses, you go in their separate ways. And it'll be a ladder match for the Intercontinental title at TLC, which, Matt, I'm perfectly fine with.
As long as they promise to really end it.
Well, when you say that, you better follow through with that. But Carmella, everybody's on their phone. Everybody's on their phones during the show. Carmella's on the phone when Nikki Bella shows up. Nikki accused Carmella of attacking her, and Carmella goes, I always take credit for my attacks, and said that, well, Nikki, you do have a lot of enemies, so maybe it was Charlotte or Dana Brooke or somebody from the E! Network. I thought that was a funny line.
Or maybe you could all be half a morsel brain of intelligence and fucking realize that it was Natty.
Dummy, yeah!
So
Nikki let her...
This is even a storyline because anybody with half a brain should know who attacked her.
Nikki let Carmella know that Daniel Bryan told her that there's going to be a match at TLC. This is the match that we've been waiting for, a no DQ match between Carmella and Nikki Bella. So again, TLC is shaping up to be a pretty damn good show in my opinion. Yeah. So Baron Corbin, for costing the Cruiserweight division and costing Kalisto his Intercontinental title match, he gets punished by facing Kane. It didn't last too long as Kalisto came in and did the attack. That was where he did the chair thing, was during the Kane match with Corbin. Then finally the main event, if you want to call it that, but it was still entertaining. AJ Styles, James Ellsworth ladder match for the WWE contract on a pole, or not on a pole. Sorry, Vince Russo. What did you think of the ladder match, Matt?
It was fine. I mean, I knew what was going to happen the second
The second he said he's not taking independent bookings.
Well, I mean, we all knew he signed a deal weeks ago.
Yep.
So
and we all knew Ambrose was coming back.
Was signed, yeah, and you knew Ambrose was coming back. It was very obvious.
I thought it was really clever though.
With what they were going for. It was in no way was I, that was shocking, or anything like that. I was just like, whatever.
That's probably what Vince said. That's probably what Vince said to himself. Whoa, that was shocking.
Because Vince is a fucking idiot.
I thought it was clever the way they had it play out, where AJ took out Ambrose with the phenomenal forearm and climbs the ladder, and Ellsworth did all the work after at the end. I thought it was cool. Knocked AJ off the ladder. AJ tries to climb back into the ring, and Ellsworth hits the no chin music, and that causes AJ's foot to get tangled in the ropes, and Ellsworth climbs the ladder. I thought it was really a creative way to do it. I enjoyed it. And so Ellsworth is a SmackDown Live competitor. So very cool. That's going to do it for this edition of Lost in the Midcard. And next week we'll be already at another pay-per-view. We will be doing our TLC review show here for you. Also talking Raw, SmackDown, maybe some Ring of Honor. And, of course, if any happenings are going on in the TNA world against Billy Corgan. Hopefully we get some good news there. But thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host, enabling us to be on iTunes, any of your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure that you search for Lost in the Midcard. Hit that subscribe button so you know every time a new episode comes your way. Also subscribable on YouTube. And go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lost in the Midcard. Go to the notes section. That's where all those links will be for you right in one little spot, and along with many other things. And also on the Twitter, we do a lot of retweeting and fun stuff on the Twitter at LITMC Podcast. Before we wrap up the show, Matt, any final thoughts?
Not really, to be perfectly honest. I just hope professional wrestling goes on the right track throughout 2017 and beyond. I don't really have any final thoughts tonight. Happy Turkey Day. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Since we're coming at you a day late and $1 short. And please, if you're going out on Black Friday, be careful and don't be a stupid idiot, or JB will put you on the list.
You know what happens to people that knock somebody over for a $10 DVD player? You know what happens?
JB will put you on the list. I'm telling you, don't do it.
If you're at Best Buy and you knock some old lady over trying to go for that $10 DVD player, the brand name you never even heard of. It's like Flamsung. Going for that Flamsung DVD player that's $10. You know what happens when you knock an old lady over? You just made the list! See you next week.